Welcome to the Beyond Divorce Embracing Change podcast. My name is Michael Flores, and I will be your host while we explore the complex journey of divorce with empathy, insight, and practical knowledge. Whether you're contemplating separation, in a divorce, or looking for support post-divorce, our episodes provide expert guidance, stories, and strategies to help you through every step of the process. We are actual therapists, helping clients who sit on our couches every day through their difficulties of divorce. You are not alone. Join us as we delve in and find solutions that give you hope again. We're glad you're here.
This podcast is not intended to replace legal or personal help. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
Well, thank you everyone for being back here with us. I have Janan here today to talk about navigating children's distress between homes. And Janan, I think we should just jump right in.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go. I know you broke this up into some scenarios that we typically hear, some patterns.
Yeah.
And so I think what I want the listeners to know is there's going to be 3 types of scenarios you're going to hear that are actually pretty common. And Janan said, let's break it up and let's do 3 of them that we hear a lot, or patterns that we hear a lot. And we're going to start with one scenario, talk through it. Second scenario, talk through it. Third, and then we'll kind of do some recaps from there. That sound good to you?
Sounds great.
All right. Scenario 1, Janan, what is it?
Well, first scenario would be, and I kind of want to flesh out like the focus in the topic, or the focus of this is going to be kind of what parents can do at their own homes if they're hearing from their child that there's some type of distress at the other home.
So when they hear there's distress in the other home, this is a way that parents can approach it to best help their child. Or
best help their child, yeah.
Got it.
Yep, and help their child navigate that.
What's in their best interest?
Of course, the best interest.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out. When people use that term, they define it. But this is what we believe could be in their best interest when these occurrences may happen.
Yeah. Okay. There's going to be, and like you said, there's going to be different scenarios that
100%
that may come up or that will come up. So, first scenario is the child has, or your child has, an agenda. So they kind of embellish what's happening, or I'll say they will make stuff up because they think that that's what you want to hear. So that's the first scenario. So my first thing is, and I think you'll probably agree, Michael, is that, you want to talk to the other parent, speak to the other parent, speak to the other, whatever's happening in the household.
Well, let's look at it like this, Sean. I like that you said that. In this particular scenario, if a child is bringing information to you and maybe embellishing or being just completely dishonest about it, when there's a third party that's involved in that conversation, you should include the third party so you de-triangulate the system.
Right.
And that's why you talk to the other parent. Because like if the kid's telling you something happened to the other parent's home, well, that other parent should either know about it, they may not know about it,
right,
or they do know about it and they can tell you a different perspective. So you have to include them. So yeah, step 1 should be you got to engage the other parent. So I like that you said that. Yes, I do agree with you is what I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead.
And then I also put, sometimes we know our kids, right? And we're just like, I know this ain't true, or ain't. This is not true.
You say ain't? We can use it before ain't.
I know this is not true. So what you might want to do is also kind of, I use the word challenge, but question, not when I say question, but kind of challenge the kid.
Be curious.
Be curious. I did put that. I said, maybe the other parent would be curious, but yes, be curious. Just be like, what happened before? What happened after? How did the other parent respond? That kind of stuff might be helpful.
And I got a technique for this. If you think your kid is embellishing, one of the things I love to do, and I do this with siblings, I've done this with siblings, I'm going to do this in this scenario too, is you say, before I talk to dad or before I talk to mom or the co-parent or the other kid, whoever, what are they going to tell me happened?
Yeah.
Because if the other person was involved in it, they're going to have a story on it too. So like in schools, when I worked in alternative schools, and I didn't do it much, but I didn't realize how powerful it was until I looked back at it, is we would have 2 kids in a dispute. And I'd pull one kid and interview them separately. And of course, they want to tell me everything the other kid did.
Right.
And so what would we do? We'd say, well, tell me what you did. What I like to do is go, what is the other kid, when I talk to them, going to say you did? What are they going to tell me? And right there, they start going, well, they're probably going to say that I flipped them off. And I go, oh, okay. So then I start learning how they played into that.
Right.
So then one of the techniques you use if you think your kid's embellishing or lying is saying, before I talk to your dad or your mom, the co-parent, what are they going to tell me you did? Like, that's a good, curious question. And if they go, I don't know, guess. Like, don't let them get away with, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, guess, because I'm going to talk to them. So you might as well tell me what they're going to say before I get that conversation going. That might stop it right there. They might even say something like, well, never mind. It wasn't that big of a deal, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Or they may say, well, they're going to tell you this, which then helps you learn what your kid might have been doing that could have led to whatever their concern is really about.
Right. Yeah.
That's the way I would do it. That's a technique.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Thanks for letting me throw it in there.
You're welcome.
All right. Continue.
Another thing, I mean, one thing that I think, Michael, I've heard you talk about and I talk about a lot is just referring the kiddo back to the other parent.
That's right. To detriangulate.
Detriangulate. Get yourself out of the middle of it. Because if you're at your house, you can't fix anything at the other parent's house.
These poor parents, they try.
I mean, you could try, but I don't know how well that's going to go.
Well, they'll tell them to come talk to us, won't they? They'll say things like, well, go tell your counselor. And all we're going to tell them is, well, let's bring their parent in that this happened with. So we're really going to do the same thing that we're encouraging you to do if we weren't involved, which is, that sounds like that happened at dad's house.
Right.
So did you talk to dad about it? No, I would start there. Or it sounds like this happened at mom's house. Have you told mom about it? No, I think you need to start there.
Start there. Mm-hmm.
Because when you co-parents have a conversation about it, it shouldn't be new to that other parent, like they've never heard it before.
Right.
You want them to have heard it from the kid first, and then you say, hey, the kiddo came and told me, and it seems like this continued to happen. They've also informed me they've told you about this. Where can I help? Right? Because it seems like this is not getting resolved, and I'm wanting it to get resolved because I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Yeah. And I think the key phrase that you said is, where can I help? You know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what happens is if we're texting or something like that, or viewing our parenting app and all that, what ends up happening is it sounds very accusatory. This did happen. You know, i.e. this, what my child is saying is true.
You got to remember when the co-parents, they're always in a defensive stance when the other co-parent reaches out.
Yeah.
It's almost like, if you take your kid to the school and the school's calling, the first thing you'd think is something's wrong.
Right.
So when the co-parent reaches out to the other co-parent, the co-parent's going, oh, damn, it's them again. What now? Mm-hmm. Right? So they're already starting in a defensive stance.
Right.
So if you come in with a little bit of a collaborative request and saying, hey, where can I help? You're asking and they may say, stay out of it. And you may not like that, but again, can you control the home?
Right. And maybe that's the most helpful thing you can do is to stay out of it.
And they're telling you asked, they told you, don't be offended. Just be like, okay, no problem, thanks. Yeah. Now you know where you stand.
Now you know.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, so that's the first scenario.
Okay.
Anything else with that?
Yeah. No, I think I think what I would like parents to hear there is your children may and quite likely have embellished.
Yeah.
Or told a dishonest truth. If you have a gatekeeper child, for those who've listened to our podcast and heard about gatekeepers will embellish.
Yeah.
Not because they want to lie, but because they want to maintain peace. So they may say things, they may minimize, they might not even exaggerate. They may go the other route and minimize something.
That's the truth.
Yeah. So you see how that's another layer of embellishment, right? Or they may keep things by omission, right? So parents, it's okay to be curious, right? But I think the biggest thing is in these scenarios is when parents are oversharing with their kids, they have no clue what they're doing. Like the turmoil it puts these kids in, because then they feel the need to embellish, or they feel the need to manipulate. Mm-hmm. And then we get mad at the kid for manipulating, not realizing that they're just trying to preserve, in some ways. So I think in that particular scenario is just assume that your kid at some point will embellish. The kid may have their own personal agenda depending on the role they play in the family system and how broken it really is.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind. So go back to the podcast of roles kids play in divorce and know that this scenario one is a result of typically gatekeepers and sometimes even distractors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It'll be in the bio.
It's in there. Like, you love saying that. But it's a good idea. We should link it in the bio for people to go, where is that?
You just referred to it. So it should be
boom. There you go. Roles kids play in divorce. That's right. Okay. What's the second scenario?
All right. Second scenario is your child is struggling with the other parent. And it's a legitimate struggle. And it may cause some minor distress.
That's the key there. Minor. We're talking about minor distress.
Yeah. Like maybe I don't like the rule, or it's too strict over there, or something like that.
I'm always grounded over there.
Yeah, like I can't be on my iPad as long as I am at my mom's or dad's house or something like that.
They restrict access, or they make me give my phone up at 8 o'clock. They take my phone up, which I don't like, for that one too.
Yeah.
Minor distresses.
Minor distresses. It's distressing because obviously they're kids and they want what they want, right?
Absolutely.
Or it's just different.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think kids compare houses? Like,
oh, of course.
Yeah. Mom's more lenient or dad's. I actually asked the question, which one of your parents is more strict? It's fun because they know it.
They know it. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll answer it for you.
Even the parents sometimes know it. They'd be like, yeah, I'm more strict than them. Yeah, why not?
Hey, I am never offended by the truth.
Yeah.
I'm never offended by it. You tell me the truth. Oh, I messed up, Michael, or I don't like this process, right? The more transparent you create that for us, the more we get to be helpful therapeutically.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So, no, I love it. So in this particular area, when a kid's coming to the parent, struggling at the other parent's home with minor distresses, give us an example of what you mean there, Janan, because did you get a scenario to this, didn't you?
Oh, well, that is my scenario. I don't have any specific. Well, I mean, it may be like, let's say, I'm trying to think of some of my, like
cases.
A general sense of kind of what I usually get, which is, I have my parent doesn't let me talk to my mom as much, or I'm going to say my dad, well, let's just say my dad doesn't let me talk to my mom as much as I want to.
Yep.
Minor distress, right?
That's a minor distress. Yep.
Minor distress.
Or they make me eat the food I don't like. Mm-hmm. I've had that one before too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are just, I guess we're kind of give more examples. So what do we do in that situation? You're the parent being told by your kid about these distresses in the other parent's home.
Other parent's home, yes.
What do you do?
Well, first thing is talk to the other parent.
Oh, there's a pattern here. Okay. They don't talk to me though. Here, I'm gonna pretend I'm a parent. They don't talk to me, Janan. I tried. I message them in the app. They don't respond. They don't even leave it on read. They don't even know if they're getting that.
Perfect. Do it anyways.
Bingo.
Talk to them anyways.
Yep.
Send a message anyways.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do.
Regardless of if you think
they don't respond. They're rude.
Who cares about the outcome? Just do the process.
Okay. Got it. So in this particular scenario, you would still encourage them to reach out to the other parent.
Reach out to the other parent.
Got it. What should that look like?
Be curious, not accusatory.
Ooh.
Right? Because what kind of response are you going to get if you're super accusatory or you're just assuming that it's actually happening in the home?
That's the trap here is I think parents just take everything at fact and face value what the kid tells them.
What the kid tells them.
Because they trust the kid more than they trust the co-parent.
Yeah. I even had that conversation yesterday. And I said, it was a mom and a dad. And I asked dad, I said, are you going to, who do you trust more? Do you trust your daughter more, your 8-year-old daughter more? Or do you trust mom more? And he said, my daughter. And I'm like, see, mom, it doesn't matter what you say. He's going to trust your daughter more because it doesn't.
So I think what we're really saying here then is go ahead and at face value, take it to be truthful that your kid's telling you. But if you take a curious approach with the co-parent, you're actually navigating truth. It's almost like if a person is investigating a crime, just assume that everything they're being told was truthful. They would have no need to investigate.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So anybody could just make up anything and here you are. You're under arrest.
Boom. That's it.
That's it. And some people have actually claimed that that's really happened to them before. And so what we're telling the co-parents here is be an investigative person by being curious, non-accusatory. Don't already make your mind up. Flirt with the assumption. What did Dr. Ruskidis tell us?
Flirt with the assumption, don't merit.
Bingo. That's so true here. Flirting with an assumption means you ask questions like, hey, kiddo came and told me this. I don't know what really happened. I don't know your side. Right. And as you get both sides, you start kind of sifting through it. I will say this, though. A lot of us have our own preconceived beliefs and ideas of what we think. And so if you think dad, and let's say I'm mom in this case, I think dad is a liar and a manipulator, and the kid tells me something, I become curious and ask the co-parent about it. I get the story from the dad, and I'm sitting here going, oh, that's BS because I know they're manipulating.
Right.
You see how that plays in? So you have to almost like take what you think, put it aside for a second, get all the information, and then reevaluate the process, right? Because once you put the belief everywhere, then it's always going to be that. You're actually, now that I'm talking through this, I think more people come to conclusions based on what they believe and not what they know.
Yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
You think that's where the trap is?
Ooh, I was gonna kind of get into something, but
I don't care.
Okay. Well, I would say like let's just take a scenario that's kind of happening right now with like vaccines, right?
Mm.
We know vaccines work, especially ones that we've taken like in the 90s. Like I'm personally, you're personally a longitudinal study. Like we are.
Yeah,
right?
we really are.
So we know that the
chicken
pox, measles, mumps, and rubella, those do prevent that from happening. However, sometimes, right, our beliefs are now changing about vaccines. And so now we're questioning all of it,
Yep.
And so therefore we're just like, oh, maybe vaccines, maybe I shouldn't vaccine my kid or something like that. Which are things that we've taken and we know work, So that's kind of like an example of, you know.
So I'm going to give her some props here. I didn't say it. Dr. Barbara O'Neill said it.
Mm-hmm.
She says, educate before you vaccinate.
Oh, 100%.
And so what we're doing here is we're saying before you jump to a conclusion, your kid brought you, why don't you educate yourself, right?
Get all the facts.
Bingo. Let's get all the stories here.
Get all the narratives, get all the...
Who was there? Oh, stepmom was there. Dad was there. Cool. They obviously are parties that need to discuss it with you.
Yeah.
Right? So you reach out to the parents. So here's the pattern, parents. You're going to have to let the other parent know. You're going to have to talk.
Yeah, you're going to have to talk.
You're going to have to sit, even if they don't respond. So now let me go back to the scenario.
Right.
You send a message out to the parent. Parent gives you nothing.
Parent gives you nothing.
Stay out of it. Or they just ignore you completely. What should you do in that situation?
Well, I do think that a thing to do is you can also just be kind of consistent in your own home.
Ooh.
I think that's something that, it's kind of like creating stability and consistency in your own home. So then if there isn't much consistency and stability in the other home, at least their kiddo has something that will give them some type of secure feeling if they don't feel secure. It's kind of like figuring out what they need.
Yeah.
You may have to ask, well, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
Well, in those scenarios when a kiddo kind of says, this thing is happening at parent B's house or this thing happening at parent A's house, it's like, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
And then kind of creating that type of environment at your home.
Right.
So then you are giving them what they need, even because you can't necessarily force what they need at the other person's home.
Good point. I look at it from the perspective of like my visual is just because you put your kid in a seatbelt doesn't mean that you're preventing a crash. But in the event there is a crash, you've now developed a level of safety for them. So when you have consistency in your home,
yeah,
right, you're putting a seatbelt on. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I can't control if you get into a wreck or not, but in the event you do, we're gonna minimize the damage. Yeah. And that's what your consistency is to a child. What does consistency create for children in divorce? When you're a consistent,
it's going to be security for sure.
Yeah, and in what
security and go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say what do we always say that kids crave more than anything else in divorce?
Oh, I don't know.
Janai, that's why I love you. See, it's transparent. I'm not even gonna make it up. I'm gonna try to remember. Well, what we've learned is that, and I know you know this. As soon as I say you're going, yeah. Well, security's one, right? And security is based in consistency.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
You did. You already said it. I'm saying it again. But there's two. There's one more.
Oh, go ahead, Michael.
You want me to do it? Okay.
Say it. Do it.
Love. But what does love look like to a kid? Do you remember?
No.
Always said T. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Time.
Oh yeah, it's time.
It's time. You make time for them.
I always want time.
Kids want time because if you give them time, it means you love them.
Mm-hmm.
They crave that,
mm-hmm.
and they crave security.
Mm-hmm.
Security looks like consistency. Gosh, it's so simple when you just.
It's just a circle. We should draw it.
You want to draw it?
Yeah.
Okay. Should not do that. Okay, got it. Scenario 3. Let's get into it.
All right, scenario 3. It is actually that bad. Whatever the kid, what the kid is saying, it is that bad. And then you can see the change in their mental and emotional well-being, their character. You see a change when they come home, kind of even throughout, and they're having to really reacclimate to your home. And not necessarily the normal reacclimating, like that little kids have to kind of go through when they get home, but it's just like reacclimating to just life that is a little bit less chaotic.
Sure. I mean, kids going between two homes, those are, and I guarantee you they're both different. So kids are always reacclimating to, they're constantly going back and forth, reacclimating to a new system. That's why if you're consistent, imagine if both homes were very consistent in how they ran their homes, the acclimation process is not that hard.
They would know what to expect.
Bingo. But when they don't, or one home is not like that, then they're always reacclimating to that. And parents complain about that a lot, but
they do.
But so in this case, in this scenario, kids are telling you it's that bad, and it really is that bad.
Yeah.
So what should the parents know then about kind of how to respond to that?
Well, I would say not necessarily number one, but get them a therapist when it's that bad, and when it's
get into therapy.
When it's affecting their mental and emotional, and if they're affecting their character, you're seeing a legit change in, like, let's say schooling, all that stuff. Yes, get them into therapy, but invite the other parent to engage in the therapy also.
Wow, how do we do that?
I'll let them know you're taking your kid to therapy.
Yeah, don't take them behind their back.
Don't take them back. Don't say, I'll let them know or something. Or
the worst thing someone's ever said to me is they brought him here for you to be a hired gun. You know, it's almost like they're bringing him here so that you can get stuff on me to use against me. And I'm saying, well, if you choose to treat me that way, I'm going to think you're up to something. You're like, it's like you're not even giving me credit enough to say that I'm a neutral party here for your kid. Right. I'm going to call you both out. Right, if I have to,
right,
you know, for the child. So that's one of the worst things. And I don't get, let me say it this way. I understand why parents may feel that. That's why I don't like doing things when a parent wants to bring a kid here and it's in the order that the other parent has some level of involvement, right? It's not the parent's just completely absent.
Right.
The parent should know if it's for the child, you know, and I know the parents, I know their complaints. Oh, they're going to question the kid up and down. I say, good, then your kid will come tell me about it. And I'll handle it at that point.
Yeah.
Right. But we're not going to not be transparent. Let the other parent know.
Right.
Yeah.
Always going to let the other parent know.
Yep. So bring the kid to therapy. Let the other parent know.
Yes.
Okay.
And I also said the same thing, kind of like provide stability in your own home. And this is to be encouraging, supportive, mentally, emotionally supportive, kind of whatever you can do. And like I said, kind of in scenario 2, what do you need from me, right? What do you need from me in this moment right here?
You know what I want parents to do is really to provide stability in your home. I really feel like you got to check yourself. Like sometimes parents think stability, that they're providing that, but not realizing they're also projecting stuff onto the kid, their own fears, their own past hurts or whatever else that's gone on. And that is not stability. It may look stable on the outside to your kid, but your kid's carrying that emotional burden of yours, and the other parent's going to come tell me that they're being alienated when that happens.
Right.
So if you really want to, like, your statement's great, like you need to provide that security and stability in your own home, but to do that also means emotionally, like you have to be in an emotional, stable, or secure place. And I will tell you, this year alone, I've had 2 parents schedule counseling with me. Divorce is involved. They're not court ordered. They came on their own behalf because they said, I know I'm not in a good place.
Right.
And I need to be better for my kid. And I will tell you, I love it. Sign me up. I want to help you help your kid.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it. If I say with parent A has experienced any type of trauma and parent B has had any hand in that trauma, and then their kiddo is now experiencing some of that trauma, how is it? I'm just going to bleed all over.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this is happening. And
you're going to feel guilt, that parental guilt.
Because you're out of it and your kid now has to deal with it.
That's it right there, that parental guilt. Then that parent goes, maybe I should have stayed in that marriage so I could have protected my kids from that.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a book called The Unexpected Legacy of Divorce. It's an old book. It's a longitudinal study of kids in divorce. And it's phenomenal. I've only been in chapter 1, and I've got a page of notes this long because of stuff that she's discovered, and it's exactly what you just said. One of them is that parental guilt, that parents will tell themselves things to stay in relationships they shouldn't be in because they're afraid that their kid is going to be the brunt of, right, what they're escaping, and the kid may not be able to escape it. And so this is why you create an environment where it's stable and secure, and you're still helping. Yeah, you're not keeping them away from it 100% of the time. And it wasn't like you could anyway when you were in the marriage. That's why you got out.
Yeah.
But now you can.
Yeah.
You can create a 50%, hopefully more, but at least you can create a space for them to not have to deal with that. So when a kid's bringing legitimate things to you, right, if they're minor, you've heard that.
Right.
But if they're major issues, I like your first step, which is get them in counseling.
Right.
Let the other parent know they're going to counseling, and let the counselor kind of handle systemically the dynamics that exist in all that. And you yourself check yourself
Right.
to make sure that you are in a stable place to help your kid experience that stability in your own home. Yeah, I love that, Janot. Gosh, you're talking.
And look,
It's supposed to be your stuff, and I'm talking. I'm sorry.
also, just know when to take action, too.
Ooh,
Know when to step in and take action.
what does that mean?
I mean, it could be legal action. It could be, calling the powers that be to keep your child safe. It could be just, I have to step in, and then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying go against any type of legal anything, but your first job as a parent is to protect your child. And let the chips fall where they may, at least you protect your kid.
One of the things, it's a great point, Janot, I'm thinking through, my brain's running. I see it like this. If your child literally, legitimately is in a position where their life is being threatened, you do not need to do anything other than take action. And that's a police call, that's CPS, that attorney, feel free. Keep your kids safe. Safety first, I understand. But kids will use the word safe when they mean discomfort,
Or when they mean secure.
Yes. Security.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then I don't feel safe. It's like, really, I don't feel secure.
I don't feel secure. And they're using the word safe, right? It's insecurity or an angst of sorts.
Yeah.
But they're not saying unsafe.
Right.
And that's where we have to help parents understand the differences between those two. So really understand what that means when a kid says, I don't feel safe. Is it they're insecure? They have angst, right? Or is it just I'm uncomfortable, I'm discomforted? Because that's what we're sifting through to come back and say, here's where we are. And we push our clients to do hard things.
Yeah. Because
we have to, that's how you get security. That's how you get there, right? Like if a kid wants to swim, but you never put them in the water, they ain't swimming. Well, we want some flotations and a lifeguard on duty. Well, here we are.
Yeah.
That's what we do. It's like, but they got to get in the water.
You got to get in the water.
I don't care if you start in the shallow end, but you're getting in, and we're working. We're going that way, But what I was going to say is on that topic is when you feel your kid is in a major issue and you reach out to that other parent, I love to give that first warning. Like if I know my kid's in a bad place and they're not in a good place, I let the parent know, hey, our kid's not in a good place. We need to figure out how to get this resolved. Immediately, we need to figure this out. Right. I'm willing to take them to counseling, whatever it may be. If the other parent says stay out of it or whatever, you know what my response would be? How am I supposed to do that? I'd ask them that question. How am I supposed to do that?
Right.
And if they don't answer you, oh boy, you get to do whatever you think's best because they ain't working with you.
Because they're not working with you.
And if they say stay out of it and you're like, how am I supposed to do that? And they go, I don't know. You're just too involved. You're da-da-da-da. Okay, well, here's the deal. Tell me a solution so we don't deal with this anymore so that I can be aligned with you and we can get it resolved.
Right.
Or you leave me no choice but to take action without your support, whatever that may look like.
Whatever that may look like.
That's right. That's security in itself.
Yeah.
It's not a threat. It's nothing else. It's let's get there. And if we're not getting there, I'm making a decision.
Right.
There you go. What do you think? Okay. I hope that helps people. I hope it's not confusing, but definitely helpful. So, Janot, what are some takeaways, maybe some patterns here that we should have our listeners take away from this, from these three scenarios?
First pattern is you're going collaboration with the other. I'll say the other side. That's the title of our thing. So the collaboration with the other side.
Yep.
Right? With the other parent.
Yep.
Being curious and not necessarily accusatory when you are collaborating.
Got it.
And let's say referring to a therapist, but then also collaborating with the other side, right?
Yeah. The therapist probably will. A good therapist probably will collaborate with the other side, good or bad. They will at some point.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. Anything else? Do we miss anything?
Stability, security, consistency, a lot of that stuff, but then check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay.
I'm sorry. I sometimes in therapy we have to tell these parents really hard things, and I know the natural reaction is defensiveness, and also like we don't have all the cards. We're not playing with all the cards, right? You have all the cards,
Right.
but if you had all the cards and knew what to do, you wouldn't be seeing me. And so what it really comes down to is I don't need all the cards to know how to help you with children, because children have patterns. If they didn't have patterns, we wouldn't be able to tell you the things that we say so consistently to you all the time.
Right.
So I don't need the story. I do need the story at some level, but I don't need the whole story to say what your kid's probably craving. Makes sense? Yeah. And so what it really comes down to is your willingness to say, I may not understand or I may not agree, but tell me how I can help my kid. That's what I'm looking for. That's how I can help you best.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you don't agree with me. It's okay if you disagree. I want you to tell me I disagree or I don't think that would be helpful. And I'm happy to try your way. But when your way doesn't work or your way's not working, I need you to let go, and I need you to let us help you navigate that. If a therapist doesn't want to be challenged, that's not good. Okay.
Right.
But a therapist also is going to challenge. And if a therapist is not challenging you, you're not growing. And I actually said this last night to a kiddo and a parent. I said, if you were expecting to come in here and just tell me, this is what's going on, how it feels, and then expect me to challenge you back, you might as well go get your hair done and tell your beautician, because it'd be much cheaper to do that. And they looked at me and said, actually, our beautician's much more expensive than you. I need to change my rates. Yeah. And then they looked at me and go, no, don't do that.
Right.
But it's just one of those things like, you're here to work.
Yeah.
So Armando says that a lot, doesn't he? Like, you're here to work. We're working.
We're working.
And we're walking, as he says.
And working, I guess.
And we're going to work while we walk, right? Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Appreciate it so much. Janan, I'm really glad you did it this way. I love the scenarios.
Yes.
I think scenarios are great because these are very common.
Yeah.
I hope people ask questions on this one.
I hope so too. And even if you have like some ideas that you've done and this has worked, leave a comment in the comment section.
Would you do this with me again if we got a bunch of questions and we could get an episode on answering
questions? Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, for those of you that don't know, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is Brighter Possibilities FC, and Facebook at Brighter Possibilities Family Counseling. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. Keep moving forward.